All right, everybody, welcome, welcome, welcome. I saw some comments already here that said, I can't wait. This is a great topic, and I will totally agree with you. I think we're going to definitely have some fun this evening. I'm excited because I get a chance to introduce to you my friend Burton Kelso, and I'm going to talk a little bit about his bio in just a second. But before I do that, I must introduce the show for those of you who are new and haven't been here before. My name is Tanya Smith, and this is Stream Like a Boss TV. My founding company is actually Get Noticed with Video LLC. And a couple of years ago, I started doing a live stream each and every week because I wanted to learn the power of live video and to really kind of test it for myself. Now I get a chance to actually come and teach service providers, coaches, creators, consultants how to leverage more live stream marketing for your own business so you can stand out online, serve more people, and sell more of your services. So welcome to the show. If this is your first time ever watching, you have to do something for me. You got to put in hashtag newbie. And if you've been here before, you got to put in hashtag OG. I know I typically have a lot of OGs in the house, and every now and then we have some newbies in the house. What's up? John Lacey, OG. I see Scott. I see you. Yep. Can't wait. So they're looking forward to you, Burton. We got to get you on here on the stage. So I'm going to do that real quick here in a minute after I acknowledge the folks coming in. Michelle, good to see you. It's so wonderful to be here with all of you tonight. I know there are more that are going to be stepping in. So look, I want to give you a chance to go grab your favorite hydration, whatever that may be. I got my cup right here. Okay, so I can make sure that I'm drinking my water, but I also want you to get yourself a pen and a notepad because I got a feeling you're going to be taking a lot of notes. Look, John's already putting it out there. He's like, I need to know all of the things. Multi-factor authentication, YubiKeys, everything. Look, I think we got the person for you. I think Burton is going to be the person that you need to hear from. So I'm excited to introduce him and to bring him on. Now, let me read a little bit about his bio, but then when I do bring him on, we're going to ask him what's not in the bio. So this is what you need to know. Burton Kelso is the chief tech expert at Integral, an IT support and computer services company. He's a TEDx and national speaker, as well as a media tech expert who regularly appears on national and international TV and radio. And he is offering viewers easy tips on computers, technology, internet lifestyle, and gadgets, and more. He is well versed in all things technology, and I cannot wait to bring him on. So let's do that. I'm giving you that chance to come on in with your notepad and your pen and to grab yourself your hydration. And we will see you on the other side of this video. And I'll get a chance to introduce you to Burton face to face. All right, here we go. All right, look, Burton is in the house, and I am super excited and thrilled and honored to have you on the show,
Come
sir.
on, stop all that. Honored.
I am. Look, I am blessed and highly favored to have you here. So look, tell us what's not in the bio.
Well, there's not too much that I want to brag on. I'm just a simple man trying to make my way across the universe. But one thing I will tell you, that quote that I should shared should cue you in that I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You know, that's not in the bio. I'm a fan from '77, and I will tell you I don't like the sequel. No, the prequel. No, let me get it right. The sequel trilogy. I don't like
Yeah.
those don't count, but the old school Star Wars and the prequel trilogy, I'm all for. I love it. Clone Wars, all of it. Yeah, I watch it every day, all day. So that,
What?
yeah, I love Star Wars.
I
Yeah.
did not know this about you. Look,
Yeah, I've
John
got.
Lacey said
Um,
hi.
I
What's
was
up?
gonna say I don't. I've got some Star Wars toys around, but yeah, I don't have any I can like grab immediately and say, okay, here's proof. So,
Well, look, I'm going to show, let's showcase your background because look,
oh
there's
yeah,
all the, you got all
right.
the superheroes, right?
Yeah, let me lean over for a little bit so you can see it. Oh, look, I forgot. There's the Mandalorian behind Alien back there. So that kind
What?
of, yeah, there's
Look,
some Star Wars in there, some little representation.
John
And you
pointed it
can't see
out.
it. Speaking of representation, Black Panther's hiding somewhere back there. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what got you started sharing, or not even sharing, but storing and saving all of these superheroes? What made that a thing for you?
It's all because of the kids. These are, except for the Mandalorian, these are my kids' old toys. So when I started appearing on TV, I needed something that would stand out from all the other people that are on there. And I'm not a big fan of the green screen. I love a live organic background. So that was the thing that I decided to go with. And I say with it because everyone comments on those action figures in the background and the Ectomobile and of course the Batmobile. And then I don't know if you saw Milt Staple or Stapler from Office Space. It's back there too. So
What?
pop culture. Yeah, there's Milts. Yeah, right next to Michael Jackson. If
Oh
you
my
didn't know.
goodness. I love it. I
Yeah,
love it. And I see the cars as well, so that's pretty cool.
yeah. There's the Batmobile, and then if I swivel a little, let's see if I can get it in there. Nope, you can't see the Ectomobile. Yeah, I'm covering up. So, oh well.
Yeah, it's all good though. Look, okay, so we get to nerd out a little bit because look, I also have I've got Wonder Woman collections all around here. You can't really see them; they're not very prominent,
Right.
but
I
I
see the
keep.
I see the big head Wonder Woman back there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
what do
got
they call those?
several
The
bobbleheads and
bobblehead.
punk Funko Pops.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Funko
Wait a minute, you
Pops.
didn't comment on my Wonder Woman behind me.
I saw Wonder Woman back
Okay,
there.
I was about to say,
She's
yeah.
the first one I saw.
Okay, yeah.
Look, Kimberly said the Justice League. I know. Look, people are pointing it out. Yvette said, I love it. I know, right?
But at the same time, people always see the Justice League, but back there too are the Avengers. And I don't know if I've got my. Let me see if I can situate the camera a little bit. Turn it over. There we go. Okay, yeah. There's Captain America. There's the Ghostbusters mobile. So yeah, it's there.
You got it all in there. You got
Oh
it
yeah,
all in there.
I got the Avengers and the Justice League. I wanted to equal it out so that if people like one versus the other, then I'm like I'm
They'll still
representing them
like
all.
you.
Right, exactly.
they'll still they'll still invite you back.
Right, exactly,
Well,
exactly.
look, we got to talk about some things that are also geeky, but that are important when it comes to video and social media content tonight. And so I know, yeah, he even has Toy Story. Look, I'm seeing people that are commenting,
Oh
wait,
yeah, I forgot about Woody
Toy
and all them.
Story
Yeah,
figures.
yeah,
Watch the Justice League on Saturday morning cartoons when I was a kid. Yeah,
right.
look, and Jamesina said Avengers. Yeah, he's got them all.
Yeah, I tried to.
Got them all. Got them all. And Kimberly G said, smart move about having something for everyone.
Exactly, right?
No, I love it. Look, everybody, we geek out about these type of things, but I'm going to tell you that I think that Burton is a real life superhero as it relates to the security topic because right now there are a lot of bad guys out there. There are a lot of bad actors who are trying to take content and make it their own, or they're trying to just create chaos in our accounts, and it's just a hot mess out there. So I need to understand, can you share with us what is your passion, and what do you love about talking about the topic that we're talking about tonight?
I like helping people because in our digital society, everything's so complicated. I mean, just the ability to go live, it seems like it should be easy, but it's a very complicated process. And when it comes to technology, I mean, it's the great equator as far as letting people have opportunities that they normally wouldn't have. And if you don't have access to the internet, you're pretty much just lost out there and you're not able to accomplish the goals and the dreams that you want to achieve if you don't have access to internet. It's in today's society, the internet's almost like a utility. It's almost as important as gas or electric, water. I mean, you name it. You almost have to have internet access for entertainment, but then also too, you have to understand that in order to enhance and further our lives, you need to have access to some form of internet. And, we learned that during the pandemic when rural communities and, of course, economically challenged communities did not have equal access to high speed internet. And I
Yeah.
just think that everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, people struggle with tech. And so it's good to have someone out there that's able to interpret all of the language that goes on when it deals with technology, especially in 2023 with the way cybercrime is occurring, because it's affecting all areas and it's not going to get any better until we educate people on how they can stay safe from all the different cyber threats out there.
So when you think about that, here's a question for you. What are some of the key security risks? And most of the people in my audience tend to be coaches and course creators. So they're service providers on some level. They don't necessarily have a brick and mortar building and a product, a tangible product that they sell, but their information and their knowledge is their asset. When they're using different types of systems and they're working in their day to day, what are some of the key security risks that you're seeing or hearing about?
Well, Tanya, the first thing that we have to think about is cybercrime has evolved over the past 12 years, and now it is a human problem, meaning that
Yeah.
the large scale data breaches that you see, the phishing attempts that you see are all social engineered attacks that are designed to trick people into giving out their personal information. Every device that you own, it doesn't matter. Tanya and I were talking about this earlier, the Apple versus Windows versus iPhone versus Android, all that's out the window because all of those devices are perfectly safe from criminals trying to hack into those devices, especially if you are on your up and up as far as where you're connecting via Bluetooth or wirelessly. Criminals are now engaged with social engineered attacks that are designed to trick you into giving up your information as opposed to hacking into your devices. And that's the biggest risk, is educating yourself to make sure that you understand how criminals are trying to attack you and what ways you can protect that information. And the number one way would be through the use of safe passwords, or making sure that you are creating different passwords for all of your online accounts, and even adopting the practice of using passphrases as opposed to passwords, because it all boils down to you and how you are going to protect your online accounts.
So I have a question about that because one of the things, I'm an avid reader and I try to keep up to date with trends and all kinds of things because my corporate experience and what I do now tend to bleed into this space. So here's one of my questions for you about the password thing. Now, a lot of us have heard about, and I actually was a victim myself of the whole LastPass breach thing.
Oh, really? Oh, goodness. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
horrible.
And so I've been reading something about this whole idea of passwordless economy. I don't know what that means really. I'm just starting to see something about that. But when you talk about passphrases versus passwords, what's the relevance of passphrases? And is there any light you can shed on this whole idea of passwordless future? What does that look like?
Right. So let's start with your whole LastPass venture. And I understand LastPass. I mean, it's just negligence on their part as far as their software is concerned. But I don't want that incident to discourage anyone from using a password keeper. So my recommendation for password keepers are to use your favorite browser as your password keeper. So Tanya, if you're a Mac user, then obviously you're going to use Safari to store all of your passwords. But for your Windows users out there, you can use Edge, you can use Chrome, you can use Firefox, you can use Opera, you can use Brave as your password manager. because password managers allow you to store all of those different passwords for your online accounts, but they also, all of them, will alert you if your passwords happen to fall in on the dark web. So regardless what you use a password manager, because that's one of the ways that you can keep your online account safe. Now, the difference between, say, passwords and passphrases is that a password is just a series of numbers and letters that you would put together. But the problem with passwords is that they're hard to remember. And that's why experts like myself always recommend that you use a passphrase instead, because a passphrase is basically two unrelated words that you put together along with a series of numbers to make a passphrase. So one of my favorite ones to use is stinky chicken, like 2019 exclamation point, or you could use yellow rhinoceros 2019, or you could even use like purple rock 2020, as a passphrase. But the idea is that if you come up with these creative words for passphrases, it's going to allow you to remember your passwords for your accounts a lot easier than falling into the old trap of, well, I'm going to use my baby mama's last name password, or I'm going to use little Kiki's middle name as my password, because we fall into those personalized um, account or passwords, but we're sharing that information on social media. People
Yeah.
know when our birth dates are, they know where we live, they know who our grandmama is, they know who, they know great auntie, because we share that information. And so when you fall into the trap of using those words as your passwords, then it's easier for criminals to find your information and to use that to log into your online accounts. Now, finally, to answer your question about a password less system, tech companies are starting to adapt what's called pass keys, which is basically biometrics that log you into your online accounts. And when we think about biometrics, we're thinking about using your fingerprint to log into your iPhone, or facial recognition when you log into your iPhone, or even when you're entering in a passcode into your phone that allows you to connect without you having to put any password in. And so the way pass keys will work in the future is not only will your pass key allow you to get into your personal devices, but it will connect with your Google, Microsoft, or your Apple account, and those accounts will reach out through the internet to log into your online accounts and log in with your device, as opposed to you having to remember a password or a passphrase.
Love that idea because, like someone just said, I think it was Michelle, let me put it, she said, yeah, you still have to remember it even when you come up with something fancy.
Right, you do have to remember it.
You
But
have to remember what it is. But with these biometrics and other types of things, the facial recognition, et cetera, that probably will make that a little bit more obsolete.
yeah, definitely. Well, when you talk about biometrics, you're talking about the facial recognition and the
Mm-hmm.
thumbprint. But yeah, in the end, it will eliminate the need to have a password for every online account. Because Tanya, the thing that people don't realize with data breaches is the simple fact that your password is sitting on someone else's server. And if a XYZ company gets breached, then uh, there goes your passwords. And
Yeah.
what people don't realize with data breaches is that companies aren't always forthcoming when they leak out customer information, and that puts a big risk, and that kind of leads into why a lot of the social media and streaming accounts get hacked.
That's a good lead into, what I'm about to ask next, because that's kind of, I think, a real top of mind issue to me is seeing a lot of these reports about various social media accounts, YouTube accounts with big ticket people, like people that have thousands upon thousands of people following, and then they have their accounts hacked and taken over. How is that happening? How are we making ourselves vulnerable? I know you mentioned passwords. Is there something else that we're doing that makes us vulnerable in these situations?
It's passwords. I hate to say that, but I mean that's
It's like, dang it, it's the password.
no, but there's other factors that come into play too. So number one is passwords, and it's not. I hate to say it, but people are very lax when it comes to their online passwords, especially social media and streaming accounts. Because the problem is that we think, well, no one's really after my Facebook account. Why
Yeah.
would someone want to hack in to my YouTube account? But I mean, those are the accounts that criminals want to get access to because when they get access to a social media account or a streaming account that has a lot of followers, that just means that there's more people that they can spam and infect with ransomware. So those
Mm,
accounts are very crucial. And the other thing that people don't think about when it comes to their social accounts is the simple fact that sometimes you've got that credit card that's tied to your social media account. So they're not only
yeah.
looking for, I've got a large amount of people to trick with phishing messages, I can also get access to someone's credit card that may be tied into a YouTube or to a Facebook or LinkedIn or even any other social account that you might stream from. And one other thing I want to throw out there too. When we talk about cyber criminals, this isn't a group of kids that are just in the basement being troublesome. I think one of the things that people underestimate with criminals or cyber criminals, you're talking about large criminal organizations that are
Yeah.
making billions globally, billions off of people when it comes to cyber crime. So when you have that type of money involved, people aren't going to give up that industry until we as individuals take our cybersecurity protection more seriously and do a better job of protecting our accounts. Also, cyber criminals are made up of countries that we don't have good relations with. Sometimes they're paying third party individuals to wreak havoc and to make money because it's state sponsored. But then the other thing is terrorists are involved in the whole cybercrime arena. I mean, there's just so much money to be made, and you may have a domestic cyber criminal like in your city or your state, but overall, most of this stuff occurs overseas, and you're talking about people that have 9 to 5 jobs, just like we do, figuring out different ways that they can infiltrate our devices and trick us out of our money and our accounts.
Wow. It just feels almost hopeless. I know you said passwords, passwords, passwords. It's the password. I need to
But
come up with,
also, yeah,
but
but
what
also
else?
again, it's the large organizations that
Yeah.
have the data breaches that we need to learn how to protect themselves. So everyone watching, I want you to visit this website or write it down. You may have heard of it before, but the website is called haveibeenpwned.com, and pwned is basically owned with a P. So it's www.have, the letter I, then BEE. Hold on, it's two E's, not three. But have I been pwned? And pwned is pwned.com. Visit that website. You can enter in the email address you use to log into your streaming accounts, and you can find out if that has been. Nope, wrong one. Take the O out.
Okay.
That was smart. Yeah, I love that.
Is it PWNED?
You got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm
yes,
going to
it's
pop
pwned.
this up and we're going to have
That's
that
it.
up there.
Have I been
Hey.
pwned.com.
All
But
right,
when
y'all.
Yeah, once you visit that website, you can put in whatever email address you use to log into your streaming account and find out if that email address has been leaked in a large scale data breach. And if it has, then you can take the steps to change the password for that account because chances are, if you use the same password for your Facebook account, you probably used it for your online banking, for other streaming accounts that you may log into. And the other thing with the Have I Been Pwned website is that you can enter in your phone number because some of us use our phone numbers to log into our streaming accounts and social media accounts, and it can you can find out if your phone number has been breached as well.
I did not realize anything about, as soon as we get off, there's two things I'm going to do. One, I'm going to go download ChatGPT for mobile because you
Oh
just
yeah,
told me right before this
yeah.
that it's now available on iPhone.
Hold on, I already got it. It
He
is.
told me, he said, if you log on and you're ready to talk, but I'm looking down, it's because I'm
Like, hold on.
installing ChatGPT mobile.
Yeah, yeah.
So y'all better go get it. I'm going to get it after this. And then the second thing I'm going to be doing is checking that website that you just shared because I think that is so important. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of comments coming through about this. Sadly, you have been pwned somewhere, especially if you have email accounts you've had for over 8 years or more, like some of us have. Yeah, yeah. JP High Tech in the house. What's up? He said, for someone who primarily uses social media for business, yep, which many of us do, security is everything.
Hey Tanya, can I do a screen share real quick? Can I share?
Yeah, I think so. Let me
Hold on,
let's
I
see what
think
I
I
can.
got it. Let me share it.
Okay.
Can you see it or not? My
I
screen share?
see something. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip this. Let's see if we can flip it. Hold on. Oh, I need to assign it. I'm gonna switch you.
You're gonna switch me.
Yeah, that may not have worked well. I'm going to figure something else out. Let me add another window and then I'll let you show it. Because
Okay.
look, somebody just said, Michelle said she's been pwned. She
How
looked.
many times, Michelle, have you been pwned? That's the key, because I think we've all been pwned.
Michelle, can you tell how many times? Put it in the comments and let's look for that. Oh, and then John Lacey's asking about UB keys. So if we get a chance to talk about UB keys, we need to talk about that too.
Okay.
If one gets compromised, they don't necessarily know your real email address. Is that true?
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything because criminals can send out text messages and other things like and send you messages through Bluetooth to get into your devices. So, yeah, UB keys is okay, but at the same time, if you fall victim for anything that comes in the form of email or Bluetooth or text or Wi-Fi, I mean, you're still going to be at risk. And if you use a weak password, that's not going to help you either because you have to remember that all of your streaming accounts are accessible by anyone in the world, meaning that I can go to Facebook and pull up the Facebook interface. And if I already know your email address and password or your phone number, I can log into your account and get access to it.
Hmm.
I know, right?
That's interesting. So Michelle is saying she was pwned 6 times. She-
Ooh, that's not
Yikes.
something I'd be bragging about. But yeah,
Uh,
Michelle, change those passwords.
she said she
Especially,
just changed most of her passwords.
oh,
Let's see
good.
what she said. Just changed most of my passwords and used two-factor authentication. Does two-factor authentication help?
It does, but the problem is if a criminal, it helps keep your account safe for the time being. But if the criminal is able to get to the point where your two-factor authentication is popping up saying, "Hey, is this you logging in from Addis Ababa, Saudi Arabia?" and you're obviously like in Detroit, Michigan, then you still need to go in and change your password. Again, the whole idea is to kind of stay ahead of the curve so that you're using passwords that criminals aren't used to using. So. Um, One of the things that is helpful to people when it comes to passwords is using a password keeper for starters, but at the same time, making sure that you are adopting a practice of using passphrases, which reminds me, if you have a problem with creating your own passphrase, go to a website called useapassphrase.com and it
Good.
will generate one for you.
Hold on, I'm typing it in. Use a passphrase.com.
.com.
I love it.
Are you going to put it up there so
I
that you
am.
can?
I'm about to pop it up. I if I had known, I would have prepared us a window so that you could share your window. But I
Well,
think
you're
it's
putting
gonna.
the information up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Useapassphrase.com.
So there we go. So use the passphrase.com, y'all. Go check it out. I'm gonna put somebody else's note. And Michelle said, I wasn't bragging at all. I'm devastated. Yeah, I
Oh yeah,
know.
don't be devastated, Michelle. It happens to all of us. Don't. And the thing that you have to remember, and that everyone watching needs to remember, is that when your password has been leaked on the dark web, that's not your own stupidity. That's a company that you have entrusted with your personal information that has betrayed you because they allowed their systems to get breached, and that information wound up on the dark web.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, because
Yeah, it's
it
not.
does make you feel like, well, dang, I feel bad because I did something wrong. Scott has 29 breaches with his email.
That's, I mean, and again, that's not something, that's not saying Scott's stupid. That's just
Mm-mm.
saying these companies really don't care about your information leaking on the dark web. And Tanya, the other thing to remember too is that sometimes larger companies will use a third party vendor to store information. So
Yeah.
that would be considered a supply chain hack, meaning that you are XYZ company, but then you're going to turn it over to ABC company to host your data. Well, ABC company is not going to use strict methods to keep their servers and other information secure. So then they get hacked. And but then XYZ company has to come back and say, "Hey, we were hacked, but it was really ABC company that was responsible for the hack." But again, you have to get into this mindset that I'm going to check my information to verify that it's not floating around on the dark web, and I'm going to do a better job of making sure that my social media accounts and my streaming accounts are safe and secure. Because when we talk about streaming accounts, I'm thinking about the StreamYards. I'm thinking about the Restream.ios that we really don't put much substance into because we're thinking, well, that's just kind of a side account that we use in order to get our message out there. So you're thinking that maybe criminals don't know that you have that information out there. But obviously, if you're a streamer and you're streaming, like let's just say on LinkedIn, for example, and people say, "Oh, I noticed Burton and Tanya stream on LinkedIn." It doesn't take rocket science for criminals to figure out that you're using either StreamYard or Restream.io to stream because those are the only two platforms currently that you can use to stream directly to LinkedIn. So you really have to think about how these criminals are analyzing your habits and trying to figure out ways to get to your information or even your audience.
Wow. That is so deep. I hadn't even thought about that. And now there are so many different streaming platforms, Melon app, Ecamm Live, like I'm using today. There's so many different ones. But to your point, I don't know if I ever thought of that as, oh, that's like my bank account. But it sounds like every account we have, we pretty much need to think about, hey, that's information that is valuable, and I need to make sure that I have a strong password. I
Right.
think that's
Especially,
what you're saying.
yeah, and especially as you grow your audience. I mean, you even have to look at your YouTube channel too, because a lot of people will maybe have a YouTube channel using a backup Gmail account that they think no one knows about, but then someone's going to find about it, and they'll get in and figure out that you use some weak password for your Gmail and for your YouTube, and then there goes your audience. And the thing that we also have to remember with a lot of these streaming accounts is that these companies don't offer any sort of support when it comes to breached accounts or
Yep.
anything that happens with your account. You pretty much have to Google it. But if you lose your YouTube channel, if you lose your streaming account, it's gone. There's no way
Yeah.
that you can get it back, and there's no one that you can call. And I want to throw this warning out there too. There are companies that will look at social media at people who say, "Hey, my account's been hacked," or it's been duplicated. And they'll send a message saying, "Hey, don't worry, we'll get it back for the low, low price of whatever. It's a 100%
Oh,
guarantee that we can get your information back." So, I mean, criminals are nefarious on all angles as far as it concerns lost social media and live streaming accounts.
that is an excellent warning because I hadn't thought of that either. That there are people who will take advantage of you after you've already been taken advantage of. I will tell you, just for instance, one of the things that we had to write into policy, since policy is one of my things when it comes to technology and social media from a corporate standpoint, we had to write into policy something that said, don't share Don't put
Mhm.
us out there and make us vulnerable when you know that there has been an incident where security has been made exposed in some way, right? Don't put
Right.
it out there because there's somebody ready to pounce on that. And what you're saying is not only are the criminals who created the hack and breached your information in the first place after you, but it's also the hovering vultures who are like, ooh, that person's vulnerable. I need to get on that.
Or it could be the same set of criminals that are just like waiting for you to put that message out there. And then they just say, well, we know we got their account. We're just waiting for this Mayday to go out to scam their information. It's like cyber criminals who put ransomware on your devices and then they come back and say, oh man, we're sorry we didn't get it fixed. Give us your, we already got your credit card numbers. Go ahead and give us your banking and routing number. And then that way, if we don't get it fixed this time, then we can just refund your money directly into your bank account. So I mean, it's no joke out there.
It's not. And how do you navigate if you're someone who just is out here minding your business and trying to do digital marketing, trying to maintain your entrepreneurship? Maybe you're even new to it, or maybe you've been in the game for some time. How do we how do we learn how to be more effective at protecting ourselves? I'll say.
I think number one would be mindset. Understand that no matter the number of followers you have, criminals want to get access to your account because you're on social, and that there are many nefarious things that cyber criminals can do with your online account. They can just take it over and just use it as another bogus account to attract people. Even if you have a small audience, they want to get a hold of those people in order to send out spam and phishing messages. And then finally, if you are an influencer, maybe they take over your social media account and then redirect people to a bogus YouTube account. So you really have to think about that, even though it's a streaming account, maybe I'm not reaching a lot of people that, or regardless the size, that you need to protect it like you would your bank account. Because what
Yeah.
if you start monetizing, you know, and
Yeah.
then criminals get a hold of your account and they're like, well, um, well, let's take over this account because we want to transfer those funds to our account as opposed to your banking account. And they can definitely do that if they get a hold of your social media or your streaming accounts.
It just feels so you feel so exposed when you hear these things. You feel so exposed. I'm going to tell you a story of something that happened. I'll make it really quick, but I'm curious about that. Since we're on the topic, it triggered the information for me. Not that long ago, maybe a couple months, someone reached out over email to me and said, "Hey, I was looking on your website. I was looking at your website at Get Noticed with Video, and I noticed that there were these things that were potential exposed, issues. And I just need you to send me, if you send me X amount of dollars, I can help you fix that."
Right.
So I ignored it. And then I got another one that basically almost threatened me that if I
Hmm.
didn't fix it, they would take over. And they had a heat map showing my actual website and pointing out certain things that they were saying I was vulnerable to.
Hmm.
So I ended up reaching out to my host and I said, I just want to share this with you all because I'm a little concerned, but I also have some other protections. Like I use word fence and some other things on my site because I've always been very paranoid. But what should you do in those situations, Burton? Because honestly, I was really at a loss and I was just Google searching the heck out of everything and calling anybody that I knew might be related to my social stuff, or not social, but my blog and my WordPress site.
Well, the challenge is that in this day of site builder tools such as Wix and WordPress and GoDaddy, that people just have this mindset that they should know everything about website design. But basically, those site builder tools are doing all the HTML and programming work behind the scenes, and people don't really have a grasp of what it really takes to run a website. So if you are going to go with a site builder tool, then you need to go with a company that is going to be able to give you tech support so that when you have those questions, you'll feel comfortable enough to call the company to figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know WordPress has tech support. I know um, GoDaddy has tech support, so does Wix, so does Squarespace, all of those site builder tools. But you can never get into the mindset of being, well, I'll just handle it myself, or freaking out whenever you get an email saying that there is a problem with your website and going to the source that wrote you, especially if it's not the company that you have the site builder tool with. You need to contact their support and they'll let you know for sure if there
Mm-hmm.
is problem with the breached website or not. And understand too that a lot of times if there is a breach, either you're going to read about it in the news or they're going to contact you via the app that there is a problem with your website. And I shouldn't necessarily say the app, but the main portal when you
Mm-hmm.
go to that site builder tool to let you know that there are problems and discrepancies that could cause your site to be hacked.
Yeah. And I have SiteGround. So I was able to contact them and they were able to help me walk through different things. And they looked and they said, no, you're good. Like they're sending you that because they were looking for a reaction and they're putting that urgency, that feeling of urgency in place so that you would jump and say, oh my God, well, yeah, let me send you my credit card, which I would never
Right.
do.
Yeah, and that's the whole social engineering thing. It's to get you to they prey on your fears to make sure that you react as opposed to think about the situation that's going on. Because no one wants to go into a scenario where they're hacked. I mean, no one wants their website hacked. No one wants their social media accounts hacked, and so that's why most people react when it seems like there's a breach, rather than thinking, well, maybe I should call my parent company to find out what's going on, or simply just ignore the email,
Yeah.
especially if it looks bogus.
Yeah. It was definitely something. It looked like a mess.
It scared
Okay.
you though.
It scared me. Because I'm super paranoid. This is why I
Right?
don't have, for those people who, if you're looking to build membership communities and platforms and things like that, I used to build on my own WordPress site. So I used to use, and I won't say the names of the different plugins, but I used to use plugins on my own WordPress site. But that meant also that the payment, the shopping cart, and all kinds of other things were going through my site. And I got really, really paranoid when I installed WordFence years ago. I've been using WordFence forever. And I noticed how many times somebody was attempting, different countries were attempting to hack into my little old site. Like
Hmm.
it's not that big. Like you said, we have to realize even if we're tiny, tiny and we have a small community, they still want access because they still can do harmful things with that access because there's a ripple effect. You are still connected to other people and they can continue to connect with those people you're connected to. So it was not until I realized, wait a minute, there's just a lot of people trying to get into my site. All these for what? I decided no more. I'm not storing this. I'm not going to house this kind of stuff in my own space. That's why I use third party platforms for community
Yeah,
versus
the other
mine.
yeah, the other thing I was going to throw out too is just the plain old extortion act that can occur if your social media or streaming service account is hacked. Because think about it, if they know that you have a lot of followers and someone commandeers your site, there's no telling what you're willing to pay in order to get that back because you
Yeah.
don't want to lose that site. But unfortunately, we're in a world now where there are so many hacked social media accounts and hacked streaming sites where people were using weak passwords or just being negligent as far as making sure that they had all the tools in order to keep their information safe. You know, passwords, two-factor authentication, and then just getting in the habit of changing passwords on a regular basis to make sure that their site is going to be safe and secure from cyber criminals.
What is a regular cadence? When you say regular basis, what does that look like? Like, how frequently should we be changing our passwords?
I would say at least quarterly, to be honest with you, as far as changing passwords, because in the grand scheme of things, when a new quarter rolls up, you are in that mindset that okay, what things are we going to analyze and change this quarter? So quarterly is kind of a good schedule to keep. I would say at the very least once a year would be a great way to change passwords and to make sure your accounts are safe and secure. But I mean, yeah, like someone commented earlier, yeah, if you have an older email account that you've had for 5 or 6 years and you haven't change the password on it, you probably have been pwned, and there's a good opportunity that that password that you've been using is now on the dark web, and you've probably used it for 4 or 5 online accounts, and then it just makes it easier for criminals to get access to your information.
I don't know if anybody else is feeling a little bit like, I saw the note from Michelle saying, I feel violated. I
But
saw
why?
it.
And I think that mindset has to change. And that mindset has to change, that you feel violated and that you're in this helpless situation. You just have to understand, like with your vehicle and with your home, hopefully you're locking your doors to your car or parking your car in the garage, and just
Yeah.
making sure that you're not leaving your wallet or your purse out in the open so that criminals aren't tempted to break into your vehicle or into your home. And that's the mindset you have to have in your as far as your life is concerned and your digital life is concerned, that you just have to employ practices that are going to keep all of your online accounts safe. And I saw Michelle posted there about the LastPass is her best
A
friend.
friend.
And do you want to tell her about LastPass? Did
Yeah. They've been
yeah, that
breached
should be your,
twice.
it can't be your best friend anymore. You can't have LastPass. LastPass
Yeah,
is
I tried. I hung on. I hung on as long as I could. And I did. My whole entire family, we were all on LastPass until the second breach.
bad.
And the bigger problem wasn't so much that they even had the breach, because I know a lot of organizations and large companies are having it. My biggest issue was how they handled the communication and when they told everyone, which was more than a year, I think, after the first one. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, when companies do business that way, that bothers me. There's an ethics issue in my mind. And honestly, with the second breach, I sent questions to them, to their customer support, and never got responses. So I was
Woo.
really frustrated with that and said, it's time for us to make a move, because I can't, I'm not willing to put my life and my family's security in your hands anymore, because you're not doing good business. So
You knew what
that's
was going
me.
on. I don't even know why you reached out, because you knew when they didn't write you back that they
I
were
know.
shady. A year later, oh, by the way, we got breached. It's like, come on now, for real?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. Like, just tell a sister, hey, this happened. Protect
Mhm.
yourself. Michelle asked,
Right.
who is good now? Well, that's one of the things Burton was just saying, is that it's really best to use your browser for your password keeping, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
would. I
and
mean, I
there are
know
other companies. They're like One Password, and I see RoboForm is what Scott put
Dashlane is
on there.
another one.
Which
Dashlane.
one? Okay,
Dashlane. Yeah, it's another one. But I mean, the
Dashlane.
browser is good. I mean, you have to think about the source of it, because most, like for Windows, for example, Edge is owned by Microsoft. Microsoft's not going to put out a product that is going to be breachable like LastPass. Same thing with Safari, the password capabilities in Safari that allow you to use keychain and other features that remember your online accounts. And then, if you're kind of on the paranoid side, you can look at Firefox or even Opera, and Brave, because those companies, that's their whole goal, is to make sure that if you're worried about Microsoft or Apple or keeping your passwords, those browsers, they're all about security and making sure that people don't have their information leaked out there. There's no third agenda, or hidden agenda out there with Brave and with Opera and with Firefox. And I'm kind of with Miss O'Neill, is that I can't stand a Edge.
Me either. I was gonna say
I know
that,
you.
but
I know you can't Mac user. You
I
know,
know.
although they
But
do
look,
make Edge for the Mac. So I'm
they
just
do.
saying, if you're curious, you
I'm
can.
not curious. I was a PC girl for a long time. I just moved over to Mac about 2 years ago,
Oh,
only for Ecamm.
okay,
Only
okay.
because of Ecamm.
Dedication. Is that a shout out to Ecamm? Should we post that on the social?
It is a shout.
Hey,
Look, they
Tanya,
know I'm going to
you
shout them
can.
out. They
You need
know.
to call them out. Get
Yeah,
some.
they know.
Get some free whatever, some swag at least.
Hey, I
You know.
got some swag here. I got some from Ecamm. I'm going to Ecamm camp in October, I think it is. So, yeah, they know. I'm
Okay.
all up in
Well,
that
they know.
community.
Yeah, as long as they know, they better know.
If you don't know, now you
Well, now
know.
you know.
Hey, I got a question for you about this whole AI thing.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the
There's an
question. Let
app for
me
that.
look. Whatever. This is
Go ahead.
AI and deep fakes. So, what with the rise of deep fake technology, coaches and creators may have concerns about their videos being manipulated or their content even being used without their consent. So, deep fakes, AI, all of that stuff. What are some steps that we can take to protect ourselves and our brand reputation from those threats? Because that feels, I don't know that it's new, but I feel like that is something that has been snowballing quickly because everybody's on the AI, everybody's on that game right now. And everybody, and I've heard the other day on the news that a family got a phone call that sounded like it was their daughter crying and screaming, saying she had been kidnapped and that she was handing the phone over to the kidnapper, and the kidnapper was demanding money and telling them to meet someplace. So the dad was jumping in the car and was ready to go pay this money because he wanted his daughter back. And the mom said, no, something don't sound right. It sounds like her, but I don't think that's our daughter. So she calls, using another phone, she calls the daughter. And the daughter's like, I'm fine, mom. What are you talking about? That kind of stuff scares me,
It
Burton.
should. It should.
What do
Because
we need to be doing with this?
I'm thinking the mom and daughter didn't have a good relationship in the first place because she didn't hurry up and like pay that ransom. She like, well, she never make her bed. Why should I help her out?
She didn't wash
But
the
in
dishes.
Exactly. You said it. But in all honesty, it is something that influencers need to be afraid of because all it takes is a few seconds of speech, and it doesn't take long to snag a photo of you or off your YouTube channel, or if you're going to be on a podcast, it's not hard for someone to snatch a good, high quality photo of you and use it as a deep fake. So to protect yourself, to see if someone's not putting out false propaganda about you, you better set up Google Alerts and set yourself up as a Google Alert so that anytime your name is mentioned on the internet, you'll get an alert about it and be able to take quick steps to squash whatever rumor or whatever lie is being told about you through a deepfake video or a voice cloning scam. The second thing would be to prevent scams like this from occurring. You need to set up a password with your family members so that if they get a family emergency or if grandma gets a family emergency call, then you can use the passphrase or password
That's
in order
smart.
to ensure that it's them. Um, but yeah, obviously, with the mom who decided to call the daughter with a second phone, I mean, that would be a good thing too. But sometimes with those voice cloning scams, they are able to get the cell phone number of the child and use that. So another step to help prevent something like that from occurring would be to make sure that you do keep your cell phone number private because that leads into video or not video, but just all sorts of scams that we haven't even talked about, including SIM card fraud scam, which is when criminals can transfer your mobile number from your phone to another phone.
Oh my gosh.
And one of the ways that that can happen would be through a voice cloning scam, meaning that criminals could get your voice, figure out which carrier you're with, call the carrier using your voice, and say, hey, I want my number to be transferred over from this phone to XYZ phone. So and I think most mobile companies have this set up. You got to set up a password with your mobile company too, or some form of two-factor authentication to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that scam doesn't happen. In fact, when we're talking about two-factor authentication in today's world, anyone you deal with that has personal information, they better have two-factor authentication, whether it be voice or a PIN or something to make sure that you're keeping your account safe and secure. And I think, Tanya, one of the things that we have to think about as video influencers is that we are targets and that we need to do everything we can in order to protect our accounts, because it's one thing to get on and start streaming and building your audience, but you also want to protect your brand and your reputation too. And in our AI digital world, it's so easy to happen, which is why you've got the CEO of OpenAI going to Congress and saying, hey, we need to pump the brakes on this AI stuff, because
Yeah.
there's a lot that is occurring because of artificial intelligence, and we need to make sure that it's regulated and that it's being used responsibly. Because cyber criminals, man, once they get a hold of something, they're just going to run with it.
It's on.
Just
And
ride
that is
that.
happening.
Yeah,
I know. They're like, okay, we all over that one. And
right,
they're faster than the good guys.
right.
Because they recognize an opportunity more quickly. But here's
Hmm.
what I want to say, because I saw Virginia's note saying this is scary. I think what you said kind of helped me a little bit with this, Burton, a little bit ago. You said it's not about us freaking out. It's about us being more aware. That's one of the reasons why I was so excited to have you on tonight, is we need a greater, higher level of consciousness. We can't just walk around with blinders on and be like, hey, I'm building my social media brand. Hey, I'm building my video brand, and not think about these things and not think about or build into our business strategy a process where we are changing and updating our passwords, something where we're creating unique passwords for everything, every account that we have, so that we don't continue to expose ourselves in a bigger way. I think we have to be more conscientious. So I love that we're talking about this, not because it's scary, but it's because it's shining a light on something that's happening, whether you knew it or not. These are things that are happening, but because we know we can do better to protect ourselves.
Yeah, and cybercrime's not going anywhere anytime soon. And I think most people are still stuck on the whole, well, I got the phishing email. I know how to identify that. I know not to click any links in any text messages or
Right.
any emails. But we really have to evolve our thinking when it comes to all the different ways that cyber criminals are going to try to access our stuff. And with AI, all it takes is and Tanya, think about this. All it takes is a criminal who downloaded the latest version of Chat GPT app for their iPhone to say, hey, how can I break into somebody's social media accounts? And Chat GPT is going to say, oh, I know, and tell them how to do it. That's the type of world we're in. And we have to really think about that and think outside the box and figure out what ways are we going to keep ourselves safe from all of
Yeah.
the cyber criminal activity out there.
It really, honestly, I do have this sense of helplessness, but at the same time, I feel like, okay, now that I know these things, it's my responsibility to do all that I can do. And it may not be enough, but I'm going to do something versus doing nothing and putting my head in the sand
That's
versus
true.
continuing to use the same password ABC1234 right on all my stuff. Now I
Right.
think it's about that conscientiousness. We're conscious about it. We can educate ourselves about it. So how do we continue to learn from you? Is this a space where you play often, Burton, or do you recommend courses or ongoing communities or training? Where should we be tapping into? I know I have your website that I'm going to share in a minute, but what are some resources that you recommend? I know you shared some links with us too, but what else?
Right. The main thing is just getting into a cybersecurity mindset of understanding that you keep your account safe. Because, the truth be told, you really don't want to make cybercrime a serious thing where you're just overthinking and thinking that criminals are going to get into your stuff. It's more along the lines of using the KISS method, which is keep it simple, silly is what I use. I never use stupid, but yeah, keep it simple, silly, to understand that if you're using two factor authentication, if you're paying attention to the correspondence that's coming into your inbox and making sure that you're using passphrases instead of passwords, it's that simple. So that way, if you employ those methods, then you can go about your daily business as a streamer or speaker or whatever profession you have.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to share your website. because I want people to know
That's not.
where to
I
find
guess
you.
that is my website. You're at
This
the bottom.
is. This
Yeah,
is
you're.
you.
There we go. Yeah. And then
Bert.
you heard my stupid self. That ain't my website.
That's not my website. Yes, it is,
It is.
Burton.
Yeah, there it is. He's grinning. You
I
know.
was going through this because I noticed all the many, 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 many awards, all the things that you are and what you've done. And so that's what I was showing is that you have, this is not something that's like a hobby for you, apparently.
No, it's not. I was looking at those videos up there. I'm like, well, there's the logo. You see the big old TEDx sitting there?
Yep, right there,
Yeah, I'm like,
TEDx.
yeah, I got that video's coming soon. I'm like, man, I want it. Hurry up and get it to me.
I love it. So, a tech expert, y'all definitely go and follow. You can see at the bottom of the screen the banners going across Burton Kelso on all the socials. You can follow him because I want to stay in tune with whatever you're talking about. This is, look at all the different spaces where you've spoken and talked about this topic. I love it. Thank you
Yeah,
for coming and spending time with us. If y'all can't see this, let me make sure that I pop it up really good. But it's burtonkelso.com, which actually you can see. So the socials that I have down there, just add a .com to it, and that's his website.
right.
But definitely follow, like, subscribe, stay in touch with them because I feel like there's going to be more questions we will have in the very near future, Burton. So you got to come back.
I will. One of the things I was going to add too, I love Stream Like a Boss TV, and I will have to inject this is that if you're going to stream like a boss, you definitely need to think about the protection of all of your streaming and social media platforms. Because if you're not a boss, if you're not thinking that aspect of it, you're thinking more of the dollars and cents aspect of it. But if you're streaming like a boss, you definitely need to look long term down the road and play the long game because you don't want to build up your socials and your video and then have it mysteriously taken down by a criminal one day because you don't want to be in that situation where you build up this video streaming empire and you're a boss and then you're back to square one because
Yeah.
there's nothing that you can do in order to get those accounts back at all, not a single thing. And don't think about suing Facebook. Like if you're a Facebook live streamer, they've already paid their class
Yeah.
action lawsuit. They're paying what, 752 million. So if
Mm-hmm.
you try to go again, they're like, yeah, we already paid that
We
out. You
done.
just
We done with that.
we gave up that money. We pled guilty or we did
They're
whatever.
like, "Did you get your
Yeah,
$1.50? Did you get that?"
yeah, exactly. Because that's
Because
what it's going to
that's
boil down to. It
that's
really
all we
is. It's
paying.
sad. It is. So Tanya, real quick, what platforms are you on as far as
I
social and so live streaming? You're LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook.
Yeah.
Any Insta? By any chance? You're on
I'm on
Instagram.
Instagram as well. Here, I'm going to pop this up. And there's so many comments. Let me do this because I want to share with you the love that's coming through. Thank you. So informative. Awesome information. Burton, thank you so much. Extremely informative. Thank you so much. So a lot of people are having positive commentary about this conversation and
And I
they've
look where
learned a
the
lot.
conversation's coming from too. So I'm going to point out. Let's just hit them all. You Facebookers are going to be. I mean, your major targets for both cloned accounts and hacked accounts. And real quick, I want to bring this up. If your
Yes.
Facebook account has been cloned, all that means is that someone copied your information and set up a bogus Facebook account to attract your followers to refriend. Because we all go through that process. We fire people, as I call it, and then you're like, oh, okay, let me send out a connection because, in my mind, I've made up with you. Cloned accounts are okay. You just report it to Facebook, you're done. Same thing with cloned Instagram accounts. But if your account has been hacked, then that's when you're in trouble and you probably better set up two-factor authentication immediately. Same thing with you YouTubers that are watching, two-factor authentication and make sure that you're using a strong password with that Gmail account that's associated with your YouTube account. But be vigilant because criminals are out there and they're always profiling people. So never think that you're not being profiled because you probably are.
Yeah. I had somebody actually, I think it was cloning, I guess, my Instagram account.
Yeah, that would be a cloned account.
Yeah. They did
So what
that and they
kind of
had my
nonsense
photo
would
and
you
everything.
What kind of nonsense were you saying when you with your cloned account?
They
Did they
didn't get
post
that
anything?
far. They
Oh,
didn't
okay.
get far because somebody snitched. And that was the second time somebody snitched. They were like, no, I don't think that's her. Let me send her a
Right.
note. And so they sent me a
Hmm.
note and I reported it and got it taken off. The other thing that happened with me is Fiverr.
Oh, really?
Fiverr, somebody actually, they took my name and my face. They took the T off of the front of my name.
So you
And
were
they,
Anya,
I was Anya Smith, but it was my face. It was obviously my picture. And they created a whole salesperson account, like a marketing account, and had really crappy stuff that they were selling. But with my face, I was so mad. But somebody snitched on them too. And then I
that's
sent them a
that was
nice little
your
note.
relative that did that. Those
It
your
was
people.
it was one of my
You know,
cousins.
it was
I
your
was
people that did that.
like, what is this? I sent the person a note and I was like, okay, first of all, that's my photo. And you know I'm about to report you, right? So you need to
Right.
take it down and stop selling stuff in sort of kind of my name,
Right.
like in my image.
Did you? Would you? You should have sent them a video with you rotating your
Dude,
head and snapping your
oh,
fingers. Hey,
I was
don't let me find
ticked.
you.
I usually will send them a note first and then instantly after report it. So, but the other
Right.
thing I did, which this may help somebody too, when those things happen for me, because it does happen more frequently than you would think, especially if you're out there and you're promoting yourself and you're becoming an influencer, whether you're a micro influencer or a big one. What I will do when I do report is I also reach out and say, hey, everybody, if you get a connection from this person, it's not me. Can you please go to this account and report it?
Right. You have to. But
Because I want it
Tanya,
flooded.
the other thing, Tanya, you have to remember too that sometimes cyber criminals will block you first so that you can't see it. So
Yeah.
your friends have to become snitches in order to make
Yeah.
sure that that account gets reported.
So everybody needs a snitch. That's what you need to walk away from.
That's right.
This call.
Snitch on your friends, your fake friends, for real. I
Ooh, that is too
like
funny.
that. Everyone needs a snitch. That's classic.
Everybody.
That's classic.
Hey, we got to use that. Look,
Right.
this has been so much fun. I know I didn't mean to keep you as long as I did, but I did mean to keep you as long as I did because this was good conversation. And I
It's
know
something
that,
that needs to be said. It really does. Because like
yeah,
you were talking about, Tanya, you're like, oh my gosh, I just feel so bad. I'm like, but why? This isn't you. It's just criminals are just taking advantage of people. So
yeah.
again, you just have to have that mindset of, yeah, we need to. I need to make sure I'm protected. You got out. Hold on, out in these streets. You better stay strapped. Make sure these
But
cyber criminals don't get you. Because these streets don't play.
it's rough out here in these
These
internet
digital streets
streets.
do not play. You know.
Y'all, if you didn't learn anything else tonight, first of all, number one, make sure you're changing your passwords and that you're using strong pass phrases.
That's
That's what I
right.
learned. Pass phrases.
That's
Make
right. Get it
sure
right.
that you're very conscientious about not using the same ones everywhere, that you need to
Right.
switch it up. I also learned that we can't just walk around with our head in the sand. We have to know that there's, even as small as we may feel our audience is, we still could be targets, and we need to remember to treat every account as though it were a bank account. And then I also learned everybody needs a snitch.
That's
So
right.
there you go.
Especially out in these digital streets.
Protect
You bet.
yourself
That's right.
out in
Get
these
you a snitch
streets.
and you better get strapped. You know. So if a criminal try to get you, you don't get got. You can defend yourself.
Michelle said, ouch. Look, Michelle could learn something from this. That's right. That I've been, what is it? Pond? Let me find it.
Have I been pwned?
Have I been pwned? We
Yes.
need to make sure, I need to make sure that people see that again. I'm going to pull that up one more time. There we go. So y'all
Yeah.
go check this site and see if you have been pwned.
That's right. And it's not case sensitive like Tanya wrote. It's just spell it out, put it out there. You
Yep.
know, if I was thinking, I got the monitor behind me. I should have just slid the screen behind me so that people could have seen it. See
Oh,
that
that's my
shows
bad.
my ignorance. Now that ain't so bad. You know, that's me. All I had to do
Jimacina
was
said, gotta
slide
stay
that back
strapped.
there.
Oh,
See, look
right
at that.
there. You got a
Yeah,
whole
see,
video back there behind you.
I know. That don't make no sense. See, I wasn't thinking. I ain't thinking. I'm gonna get got because I'm not thinking about stuff. Some cyber criminal gonna come through and get my stuff because I'm not handling my business.
Oh my goodness.
But
Y'all,
then
we
there's the
are.
other website, the useapassphrase.com.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so those two will keep you safe from all of these cyber criminals out here.
Useapassphrase.com. Okay, y'all. I popped them back
Yeah,
up.
that's right.
Marcia said, good info. Thank you. Yeah, this
So,
has been fun and
Tanya, you gonna be
informative.
my snitch?
I'm going to be your snitch. If
I'm
I
gonna be
see
your snitch
something,
too. If I
be
see
my
something,
snitch too.
that's right. If I see something shady, I'm
Okay.
gonna call them out.
Look, all of y'all, everybody out here, if y'all see something that looks like it's crazy and it doesn't look like me or Burton for real, then y'all need to snitch and we will do the same for you.
That's right.
Use the passphrase.com and haveibeenpawned.com. These are the two that he shared with us tonight, y'all. So I
It's
just want you to.
it's pwned.
Dang it. I keep saying
It's
pawned because I'm adding
pwned.
an A.
Yeah, you are adding an A. So let me quickly tell you the story behind that. So,
Okay.
in video game chat, when people are talking smack on each other while typing, when they're
Mm-hmm.
playing Call of Duty and stuff like that. So someone wrote, "You've been pwned" instead of owned. So that's
Oh.
how, so it became pwnage. So if someone pwned you, they own you.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, so when you go to have I been pwned, it's the act of to make sure that some cyber criminal isn't owning you by knowing your personal information. So
Okay.
there you have it.
Well, they need to have an O in there.
They-
They're messing it up for me. That's why I couldn't remember.
I got something to tell you. So in all seriousness, I was giving a cybersecurity talk and I had just learned about this website. And I'm like, go to Have I Been Pwned? And then everyone in the audience didn't know. And so they're typing it down and looking and stuff like that. I finally gave a speech and there was a guy there that kind of knew the website. And he's like, yeah, that would be pwned, not. And I was
Oops.
so embarrassed. I was like, I got the website right, Yeah. So he was the one that told me the story about it. I'm like, I don't play video games. I wouldn't have known that. But
I
that's
sure
the
wouldn't have
story.
known it. I sure wouldn't have known. So now we all know. We are all more educated because that guy approached you.
That's right. Yeah. Or else I've been like you. Yeah, go to Have I Been Pwned, looking like an idiot on TV.
Talk about pond. She pond.
Right.
Oh
Too
my
funny.
goodness. I needed this laugh. Thank you.
No
Especially
problem.
this topic is it's man, it'll have you in your feelings, but again, I think I learned from you tonight.
I hope
Get
so.
past that.
Don't get hacked tonight. That would,
Yeah.
I'd be like, dang. Go
Then
to
I'm
the
really
risk.
gonna call you and be like, okay,
Oh, why?
Burton,
I'll be like, I
help.
told you. I'll be like, I told you. They ain't playing.
Help. We're going to do all we can to protect ourselves. And if anything should happen, then we'll follow whatever the protocol is for the platform where it's taking place. Do what you
Hmm.
can. Don't feel like you're helpless. But at the same time, don't ignore the fact that this is happening. And I think what I will do is continue to try to share whatever I'm learning with my friends, my community, my family to let them know so that we can all do the best that we can. Because, I mean, that's where we are right now, especially with technology like AI and other things that are just taking on a life of their own. So we're going to do the best we can. We're not going to ignore it and be powerless. And it doesn't mean that things won't happen. I think
Right.
that's what I'm getting from you. Yeah.
That's right. Be a
Okay.
boss. Stream like a boss. Protect your accounts.
Stream like a boss. Yes. Oh, I was supposed to have sound that was supposed to come in and do something, but it didn't do it.
Stream like a boss.
There we go.
I love it. Yeah.
All right, Burton. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Let me make sure everybody knows one more time. Go to the website burtonkelso.com with a K.
Yes, right.
He is a TV tech expert, not only an on-air TV tech expert, but a tech expert in all the spaces and things. He's a speaker, entrepreneur himself.
Don't forget TEDx.
Oh, yes, TEDx keynote
Yeah,
speaker.
that's
He's so
right.
excited. I'm so excited. When I saw that, I was like, yes. So get that video out there as soon as you can so that I can reshare it whenever it comes.
I'm trying, I want it. It's got to go through, it's a lengthy process, so it has to go through Global TED in order for them to approve the whole event as it occurred. And then we'll get our individual videos. And then I'll probably be streaming it every day. Be like,
I know, right? Look at me,
yeah,
TEDx.
it's right.
Well, do share, and I'll reshare it to the community because I know you're going to be a brother to us all, not just to me, but to everyone in the space. So definitely let us know when you have it ready.
I will do so.
All right, Burton. I'm going to switch it on over here real quick and let everybody know one fast, hot thing. If you haven't signed up, livestreamtoleads.com. We are going to be on and popping on Saturday, starting at 9 a.m. Central to 12 p.m. noon. So we're going to be talking about how to use live stream marketing. I am literally going to be on doing a full out training where we're going to be helping you to learn how to use live stream to drive engagement so that people sign up for all the things, your offers, right? Get on your email list. I'm going to walk you through a very structured process that I use to stay consistent in using live stream marketing to create my sales funnel. So go to livestreamtoleads.com only until tomorrow night, midnight. After that, we're shutting it down because we're live on Saturday. Okay, folks, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you so much for the questions, for the engagement, the participation. I hope that you learned a little something. It's been so much fun hearing from Burton. And all the notes that you took, make sure you apply them. Do something with that. It's not just about taking the notes and loving what you hear, but it's also about taking it and doing something, taking action. I look forward to seeing you next week. If we don't see you in class on this Saturday, I look forward to our next Thursday live stream where we're going to be helping you to learn how to leverage live video to stream like a boss. I will see you all next week in the stream.